Could I get a motion to return to open session?
So moved.
Sarah moves, Mike second, all in favor? Okay. Could I get a motion to adjourn from our executive session? Mike
I think
moves.
that's the same thing.
Yeah, you need to adjourn the special meeting.
Adjourn the
got
special
it.
meeting. So
Got
Mike
it.
moves, Sarah second. Okay, all in favor? All right. Now, I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen for Monday, June 17th, 2024 at 7:05 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, looks like we have a number of folks assembled for potential public comment tonight. I'd like to limit the public comment to any individual to no more than 2 minutes. First order of business is a public hearing that we need to have on proposed tipping fees. Kate?
Notice was placed in the paper and all that we would have this public hearing on a proposed tipping fee for recycling at the dump. This is for commercial haulers to bring in recycling necessitated by the increase in fees that we are going to be paying to have recycling hauled out. And Ed is here to answer any particular questions you might have.
Okay, should I read a couple paragraphs from the press release, or is it all pretty clear? I mean,
You don't have to.
Ed, any comments or questions? No?
Sure. All right, Ed Gentile, Director of Public Works, the town of Darien. In front of you, I did give you a short briefing on what this is all about, why it's needed, when we'll be implementing it. The current contract for the next 5 years now has been executed, and we are going to be moving forward as of July 1st. This fee now that will be paid by the haulers to drop off single stream recycling will equate to what Wind Waste will be charging us per ton to take it away. So it's a one-for-one deal.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Does anyone from the public have any comments or questions about this? Okay. Yes.
Will it discourage recycling relative?
People, you need to come, I'm sorry, you need to come up and
Sorry.
give your name.
Hi, I'm Robert Gray. I live at 1 Brush Island Road. And my question was simply, will charging more for recycling fees be an incentive for people to dispose otherwise?
We won't be charging the individuals, we'd be charging the haulers. So theoretically, the haulers might increase the fees to their clients, but otherwise it should not impact the individual residents.
Great, thank you.
So, Ed, so you know that I'm a fan. I'm in favor of charging whatever we're being charged.
That's your idea.
But yeah, it was. Yeah,
It was.
my
It's a great idea.
But to Mr. Gray's point, I think that the haulers, I was thinking about this. They could try to adjust their rates, charge more, but they would then, they're going to pay either $93 or what are we at, 103? We're at 103?
It'll be 103.
Right.
And for your MSW,
Right.
it'll be 75 for your recycling. This will be cheaper to get rid of your recycling per ton at our transfer station. So not knowing what the haulers charge the residents now for single stream recycling, I'm assuming it's cheaper than MSW because currently they don't get charged at all at our transfer station. So there
Right.
will be an uptick in their cost. I'm assuming their business model isn't going to stay the same way it is right now.
Right.
But it still should be less than the MSW,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right. Okay. And then where we are right now, our revenues are up kind of significantly. Is that because we have more tipping fees from outside sources? Is that what's going on?
We are getting additional tonnage.
Right.
Over the last couple of years, it's picked up. We also, 2 years ago, increased the per ton charge for MSW from the haulers
Okay.
from 94 to 118. dollars
Okay.
per ton.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Nothing else? Okay. Do I need to close the hearing in any particular way?
Just declare closed if there's no other
Okay, I will
comments.
declare the public hearing closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks.
Okay. First Selectmen's report, we didn't have that at our last meeting. A couple things I'd mention on some things that I've done. On May 9th, Juliet Kane and Megan Hetherington gave what they called a tree talk at the Darien Library, which I had a chance to attend. It was very well attended by a variety of folks there, and they both talked about the importance of native species as well as the thoughtfulness you need for properly removing invasives. I've invited Juliet to consider providing that perspective to both our Parks and Rec maintenance teams as well as the Public Works teams who do that for our public properties. And I'm going to work with her to try to arrange something where she can provide that education directly to those individuals so that they're better informed about all that. Anyway, my hat's off to both of them. I thought it was a balanced and informative presentation. They did a great job. On May 13th, I had a chance to visit at the invitation of the President and CEO of Stanford Health. I visited Stanford Hospital and met with Kathy Sillard, who's the CEO there, as well as Ben Wade, who's their Senior Vice President of Strategy and Marketing, and got a tour of the facility and got a better sense of what they offer there, particularly through the partnerships they have with outfits like Hospital for Special Surgery. It is a very impressive facility down there. When you meet with the professionals there, I was really just amazed at the quality of the folks there, the thoughtfulness of their strategy. We're well served as a community by having a facility with professionals like that right next door. It was actually terrific. I gave a talk on May 15th at the Darien Men's Association where I laid out in a fair bit of detail some elements of the town strategy and things that we as a Board of Selectmen think about and that I've thought about personally. That video is available if anybody wants to hear my extended comments on all that, but I not only gave a talk there, but there was about 30 or 40 minutes of Q&A afterwards where we addressed a number of things with that group. So take a look if you're so motivated. A big thank you to Senator Bob Duff. So I called the Senator's office about working with the Connecticut Department of Transportation to clean up the Exit 11 bridge. So if you come off Exit 11, like you're going to turn left to go into the Corbin District, that bridge is in kind of shabby state. It's not clean. There's a lot of algae on the walls. It needs to be repainted. And so the Senator arranged for some Department of Transportation staff to come down and join us to do a tour of that. And it'll take some time to kind of get through the approvals, but I'm actually kind of hopeful that we'll be able to get that cleaned up. It'll look sharp when you're coming into the Corbin District, and particularly for folks who might be moving into Thorndale Circle when that redevelopment takes place, just have a nice open and well-lit area to come into our beautiful downtown. So thanks to Senator Duff for that. On Sunday, June 9th, there was the celebration at Tilly Pond. So this was the You Belong celebration to kick off or to be part of Pride Month. At that event, I read a proclamation for the town of Darien proclaiming June as Pride Month and had a chance to interact with Dan Guller, who has an unlimited amount of energy, but he was a big driver behind organizing that event. There were lots of display tables, there was lots of food, it was very well attended. I thought the whole event was terrific. State Senator C.C. Marr was there, who spent a long time in Darien, but she was given an award for her support of the LGBTQ plus community, so congratulations to Senator Marr. But that was a fun afternoon, and that was great to see everybody having a great time at that event. Two last things I'll mention: the Darien High School graduation this past week. It was terrific to go there and see not just the students, but the families, the faculty, some retiring teachers, kind of all of that. It's just such an amazing event to see all those years of accumulated effort all kind of come to fruition like that. But congratulations to all the graduates, all the families who now get to send these wonderful children to college. But great job by all. And then the last thing, I'd do a shout out to the Monuments and Ceremonies Commission. They had a Flag Day ceremony here inside Town Hall in the auditorium this past Friday, and it was led by U.S. Navy Captain Sue Ann Shore, who's a U.S. Naval Reserve captain. She now heads up Monuments and Ceremonies, and it was just a lovely ceremony to go through and read part of the proclamation that President Biden does on Flag Day, and then to hear from a variety of folks, including some performers, well, the captain's son, who did a great job, and some others, but it was just a nice short ceremony, and I enjoyed it very much, so thanks to everybody for doing that. That's all I had for my update. Kate?
Well, it's that time of year, we're wrapping up one year and getting ready for the next one, so there's going to be some cleanup stuff coming your way over the next few meetings. We have 2 contracts under negotiation at the moment, and I spent most of last week at the Government Finance Officers Association Conference in Florida, and came back with some ideas, and so did Jen, that we will be trying to implement. So.
Okay, terrific, thank you. Okay, board liaison reports. Mr. Burke.
The Blight Review Board met on June 12th, and we reviewed the 11 properties that were on the list. We actually released the sole commercial property because they had remedied the blight condition. We were happy to speak with a couple of neighbors representing a couple of the properties on the list, and seemingly they are moving forward to either sell the properties in question, or remediate them. We did move to add 2 properties to the foreclosure recommendation list, and these are both properties where there's been a complete lack of movement and or communication from the property owners. We are heartened and proud that the town has now just 10 properties on that list. So hopefully we'll keep moving through and not add to the list, but reduce it.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Oxford's Building Committee had to punch back up again. We met on the 10th on Thursday, and we just have a little bit of some landscaping issues and a couple of punch list things that we still need to finish up. So we are not ready to close that committee just yet. We will meet again next month just to make sure that that punch list was hit, and I'll be able to report on some of the movement there. Hopefully we can close that committee soon. Mental Health Task Force has not met, but I did see many of our community partners at the Pride event, and I wanted to thank them publicly for continuing to serve our mission and to continue all their great work on the Mental Health Task Force.
Okay.
Great Island, we are tonight going before the RTM for the appropriation for the consultant, the master plan consultant. I want to thank the RTM Finance and Budget Committee, the Park and Rec Committee, the Public Works Committee, and the Planning and Zoning Committee for inviting me to come and give them an update on that. And the movie filming started today. It's going very well, no hiccups. Just I thank the community in general for adhering to the current rules and regulations, which include staying on the paved areas. The filming is off-site, but there's a lot of equipment, and so staying on the paved area solves a lot of problems. So that's it.
Good deal, thank you. Susan? Sarah?
The Henley Homes and Memorial Building Committee is moved into a new phase, and we have now, you may see at different schools, Henley Homes and Memorial obviously, you may see shovels. We've started the work, and the trailers are there, and school is out, and they are in full season. We are pushing ahead. The weekly OAC meetings are happening, which is exciting, and our next meeting, we now have a regular schedule. We'll be waiting once a month now for the next year. We've got those meetings. July 17th will be the next one. And yeah, I think there's a lot of energy. Everyone's very excited.
And your new committee member is excited?
Yes, Paige Gosling is our new committee member. She's lovely, and she's got some great experience. So we're very happy that she's joined us, yes.
Great.
Okay, terrific.
Could I go back and add one thing?
You can.
You just don't reminded me. The work to upgrade the audio and visual capabilities in the auditorium will be starting later this week.
Oh, terrific.
And should be completed by the first week in July.
That's great news. All right, that's really good. Okay. All right. Public comments. Does anyone have any public comments this evening? Okay, seeing none. New business. Discuss and take action on a request to approve new solid waste fees. This is coming off the public hearing we just had. I'm not sure there's much to discuss unless anyone had any comments. Okay.
Yep, great write-up, Ed. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was actually very good. So could I get a motion to approve the rate increase request for the RDA tipping fees? Monica moves. Mike seconds. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Next up, discuss and take action on a request to accept the gift of a bench from the Darien Domestic Abuse Council to the police department. Kate?
I think this should be pretty straightforward. They've offered to donate a bench. The police would like to accept it. It is of an amount that requires the approval of the Board of Selectmen.
Where was the bench going to go? It's
going to go at the
right.
police station.
Right. Okay. No, I think this is...
Where specifically, I'm not quite sure.
All right, well, this is terrific. We thank the Darien Domestic Abuse Council for their generosity. It's $1,200, so we certainly appreciate that. Is there any questions to discuss?
Yeah, I just have one question.
Please.
Kate, on the plaques, do we need monuments and ceremonies to approve the plaque or not?
It depends on what, other people have opined that it depends on what the plaque says. The rule of thumb that's been used in the past is if it says in memory of, then monuments and ceremonies has been asked to weigh in. If it says in honor of, then they don't.
Okay.
Okay. All right, no other discussion. Could I get a motion to recommend the acceptance of the gift of the bench from the Darien Domestic Abuse Council to the Police Department in the amount of $1,200? Sarah moves. Mike second. All in favor? Okay, thanks. Okay, next item. Discuss and take action to approve the proposed pay plan for non-represented full-time and part-time employees. Kate?
So this was the item that we discussed in executive session, outlining the amounts that we proposed to grant as raises to the non-represented employees based on their evaluations. These are all merit-based raises.
Comments or questions? Motion to approve the pay plan as presented by Kate. Monica moves. Mike second. All in favor? Great. Next item is discuss and take action on a request to approve the 2023 Push-Pull Parade.
I'm hoping it's 24.
Yes,
Okay, put that out
24.
there.
That was my error in the agenda. I was copying
Thank
last
you.
year's.
Just putting it
I
out
didn't
there.
catch it either. Okay, this is the Darien VFW Post 6933 for their push-pull parade that will start at the high school and go to McGuan Field like last year.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, from 10 until 1:30. I would approve it if they can guarantee the temperature will not be above 85 degrees.
Good luck.
I will be overdressed for that event. Okay, anything else on this, Kate?
No.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, this is the same July 4th parade that we've had in the past. It's a lot of fun. Please come if you can, but it would start right after some of the activities we have planned at the high school for that day. So July 4th, please come, 10 o'clock. Motion to approve the request for the push and pull parade. Sarah moves. Marcy second. All in favor? Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, old business. Discuss and take action on proposed amendments to the Town of Darien flag policy. Mike?
All right, so you have before you a policy that I drafted, and I tried to address some of the concerns that were expressed the last time we considered the policy. The first item that I addressed that's in italics is that the statement that the town flagpoles are not intended to serve as a form of free expression by the public. Any flags displayed on the town flagpoles reflect the town's official sentiments as government speech and expression consistent with the town's mission and priorities. And that was to address the idea of, well, how do you say yes to some people, no to some people, or potential lawsuits. And this really actually came out of the Supreme Court decision on this issue, and this is government speech. And if you do not like government speech, then you can change the government if you were a sole, issue kind of voter. Some administrative notes. The big addition here, we talked about the Greenwich, policy last time we spoke of this a few meetings ago. And I added a section where, as opposed to a rolling admissions, if you will, that they do in Greenwich, this would be a once a year consideration by this board of proposed flags. So instead of multiple meetings, we would narrow it to one. And then finally, thinking of cost impact, the section C was the successful requester may be required to furnish the particular flag or reimburse the town for acquiring whatever the particular flag might be that we would approve, that we might approve. And, really the last thing that I would say about this in terms of my presentation is that I really thought hard about this, and I think the easy thing to do would be to stay as we are. But as I've said before, I truly believe that the easy thing is unworthy of us. We've heard both pro and con and well represented, and I believe that this policy is a measured response to the comments that we've heard. I believe if you consider everything, balance everything, the right thing to do is at least try. Just try. In practice, as opposed to theory, the policy we can determine whether or not it's administratively burdensome. If it is, or if it's too costly, or in practice too derisive, the policy can be removed and replaced as quickly and as easily as we've put in. And I really mean that, because I'm sensitive to the other arguments, but I really just feel it's worthy of an attempt. An attempt is worthy of us. But I'll answer questions about any of the technical stuff, and everyone can else just talk about it, but that was all I had to say.
Comments? Sarah?
I do have some remarks prepared. I'll try to be brief.
Okay.
At the Flag Day ceremony just the other day, I was thinking about the words that were read aloud, and one of the sentiments in one of the poems spoke about how we assign meaning to cloth and hang it from a flagpole. The white stars on a field of blue, the red stripes, the white stripes, they're all our nation's flag that means something to Americans. And if you drive around town, you'll see people have different flags that they fly at their houses. Proudly, like the armed forces flags a family member belongs to. Some are in jest, poking fun at an individual. Some support the police. You'll find at different times of the year there's different flags, like the college flags when March Madness comes around. Maybe their home flag if they live far from home. They're important symbols. I read a story recently about the teacher who hung a pride flag inside of her classroom on a wall. The next day, 3 students were in her classroom when she walked in for the day eating their breakfast, only one of which was her own student. The teacher said nothing. The next morning, there were 12 students, only 2 of which were her own. Why were the students there? The flag showed them something. They felt included. They felt it was a judgment-free zone, and they felt welcomed. I want to live in a community that takes pride in showing others that they are welcoming, that they are open. All of the investments that we're making, including the purchase of Great Island, we're currently charting a course to fully utilize for our future, for Darien's future and for our children. We do these things not for an immediate gain, but for the benefit of future generations. Darien is ever evolving, and we need to be mindful of applying our long-standing values to an ever-changing landscape. We do not seek to fly flags that are the flavor of the moment. Rather, we seek to celebrate ideals whose values are universal and timeless. Why is it important to focus on the symbolic meaning of the certain flags? Because they have meaning to our residents. We represent all of Darien, not only those who are afraid of change. I don't feel like it's too much effort for us to review this on an annual basis. And I have faith in our board. I have faith that we can work together with intelligent communications and conversations to make the best decisions for our residents. I want our residents to be proud of all of the flags that we fly. I want to show honor to those whose lives that were lost as either a prisoner of war or missing in action. The town flagpoles are large enough to accommodate another flag, and those flagpoles belong to our residents, all of them. Not just a few that are afraid and worried about how it might look to others if we were to fly it. I want businesses to be proud of the community where they invest their time and money as we show them that we physically reflect the values that we have stated in our town mission statement. And for these reasons, I support a new flag policy.
Marcy or Ron?
Mercy.
I appreciate Sarah's speech very, very much. This policy to me has never been about the pride flag. I am a strong supporter in the pride community. I understand the importance and the impact that it has on our youth. I understand how much we've progressed. I have children in high school and I have children in elementary school. And their experience in this town has been profoundly different over the course of the 10 years that they've been here. What my fifth grader has learned and the acceptance and the understanding that he has about this community is light years from what my junior has experienced. So I really, truly appreciate the work that this community has put forth into this community. However, when we look at this policy, we have to think about those that will come forth that may not be suitable to fly, that may put us in a position where we are a confrontational board, where we are discussing things, and we are, putting certain individuals or certain special interest groups at a disadvantage by not allowing them to express their voice. I don't know how to push forth and to address when this board gets, I don't see other special interest groups sitting here having conversations with us, asking for them to fly their flags. I haven't seen it. I've only seen one group. I'd like to see and hear voices from other groups that are also considering, so that we can make this so it's not completely focused on one group, one organization, one special interest.
I just have a brief comment. I thought about this again, and I came to the exact same conclusion, and it's not because I think this is the easy way. I think that the 3 flags that we have cover every single person in town, and I continue to support the flag policy we have.
Thank you. A couple comments from me. The first one, I think, is that there's something unique about the seat of government in the sense that this location, Town Hall, those 3 flagpoles there, they are really meant to represent everyone. Right? They're not meant to single anyone out. They're not meant to say that we're going to talk about this group, but these other groups here, we're not going to talk about them. It's a unique place in town. It's different from our schools, it's different from businesses, it's different from residents. It's the one place in town where all of the town is represented all at once. Everybody's represented, right? Those 3 flags there, which are the national, the state, and the local flag, the reason that they're there is that they're meant to encompass and represent everyone. They're not meant to exclude anyone. They're not meant to say anyone's not welcome. What they're meant to say is that the town government represents and works and performs and is up all night and is available and on call for every single person here. And the reason that those 3 flags are there is to convey that message. It's not meant to be a message of exclusion or a message of unfair treatment or saying that these folks or this group or those individuals shouldn't feel welcome in Darien. It's actually quite the opposite. It's meant to say that this government works for and represents every last person who's here in town. Now, the second point that I'd make is that I appreciate the wording of this policy, but I'm still convinced that because of the nature of flags, what this is going to invite is a steady parade of people who are trying to get different flags flown at different times for whatever reason. I think the basis for rejecting requests like that, unless it's something that's truly egregious, like a Nazi flag or some other horrifying flag like that, anything that's short of that type of thing is going to be very, very hard for this board to reject, and to reject in a way that a court would look at it and say, you know what, that's a perfectly reasonable decision to reject flying of that particular flag. I think by putting a policy like this in place, even though you've limited it to say we're only going to talk about this on October 1st and it's going to be decided in December for the following calendar year, I think what's going to happen is that we're going to be like many other towns, just like the Greenwich has told us on multiple times, even after the adoption of their flag policy that went into effect this year. Those guys still face requests for different flags. They're having to meet and turn them down. And even though we are going to limit through this policy, we would limit discussions of those flags to the end of the calendar year prior to the year in which the flag is flown. That does not mean that someone is not going to come forward with a special request for a flag. Let's say some event happens, or there's some significant military action, or an invasion of some country. Someone's going to come forward and say, we legitimately think our flag should be flown. Special circumstance. We'd like you to waive the policy to please accept a discussion of this particular flag, given how important this is to us, right? You can't just come in and put a policy and say, absolutely not, we're only going to discuss this on October 1st. Not true. You get some group here, once they see that other flags can be approved, there will be, I guarantee you, some event where someone will come in and say, this is absolutely critical, we must have this flag flown, right? Who's going to turn those down, especially if it's a national or a state tragedy, right? Something like that. Those individuals will want those flags flown. So the idea that you can create a policy that says, we're going to permit flags to be flown and not have to deal with adjudicating requests for flags to be flown on town property, I think is overestimating the finality of saying we're only going to talk about this once a year. So in my judgment, the final point that I would make is I was quite happy to attend the Pride event last Sunday, right? It was terrific to see everyone there. We had a proclamation saying that the town was declaring June as Pride Month. And it was serious when I read that. I congratulated Senator Mara on her work for the LGBTQ plus community. This never has been about accepting or rejecting any particular group in town. In fact, we're all at different times of the year participants in events being held by different groups here in town. We join in them and celebrating and reveling in the joys that they have for the particular initiatives that they support or the groups that they try to empower. And I will continue to go to those events like that. But asking the town government to change the nature of what it does, which is to singularly represent the interests of all people in the operations of municipal government, to instead promoting individual groups and individual entities and organizations through a flag policy, I think departs from that in a way that is unhelpful. I disagree that if we were to put something like this in place and decide it doesn't work, then we're going to go back to a policy like that. That's not happening. Greenwich has already determined that because they have a very long history of flying all kinds of flags there. There's no way that they can go back and change that, which is one of the reasons their first selectman said that he ultimately had to agree to the policy they had, was that there was too much history in terms of flying those different flags. They had no choice. He's told me on a couple of occasions that had he not had that legacy, he would have said we should have a 3-flag only policy. So in conclusion, I support our existing flag policy. I do so without any equivocation. I think it's the right policy for the town. At the same time, I'm very supportive of different groups who want to be recognized here in town. I've said many, many times, like I did at the Pride event, if someone surfaces evidence of anyone being mistreated or being unfairly excluded or being subject to any kind of harassment or unfair treatment, I will be the first person to come forward and say that has to stop. And if it requires calling in authorities to provide help and support to that group or that organization, I will do that without hesitation. This is not about exclusion. This is not about celebrating people here in town. This is about a flag policy that works for everyone. And in my judgment, our current policy does that. Okay, so I know you've promoted or provided this additional policy for our consideration. Does anyone else have any comments? Okay. Could I get a motion to approve changing the flag policy to what you've proposed?
Do we make any additional comments from the public?
No, because we had our public comments before, which is why I opened that up at the beginning. Could I get a motion to approve the change in the flag policy? Mike moves, Sarah seconds. All in favor? Okay, all opposed? Okay, motion fails 2-3. Mike, I appreciate you putting the additional work into this policy, I really do. Thank you. Okay. Next item up for discussion, parking authority business, discuss current parking regulations. Kate?
Well, at the request of Mr. Burke, put this on the agenda for you to discuss parking regulations. The current regulations were attached to your packet. We updated some parts of it last year, not just the fees, but the time at which daily parkers could park in the permit lots legally without risk of ticketing. You know, if you want to discuss changing the times, if you want to discuss how the lots are lined up, you know, the usage of the lots, you know, we could put more daily people, if we could reconfigure spaces to allow more daily people in prime locations.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm always willing to discuss parking regulations, but I think what we'd want to do is say, here's a specific change or set of changes we want to make to that. And then we would go have the relevant staff in town, could you please go study this for a while and let's either run some experiments or try to use what data we have to determine whether this is going to work, or importantly, whether it has second or third order effects that we should take into account. And then to put into something in place that if that policy doesn't work, that it's grandfather or sunset in some way, that we can come back and revise it if there's some kind of problem. So I'd rather have something like that, which is, here's the proposal, here's some data where we've looked at it to try and determine whether it's the right one, and here's a sunset provision where we can get out of it if it's not working, or something like that. I don't know how those changes have been adopted in the past. I mean, Mike, you kind of brought this up. Do you have a particular thing you want to do?
You know, my purpose in raising the issue for study is that I believe that there is a way, if we look at this intelligently, to obtain some more revenue for the town for daily parkers who would have some greater ability to park in those lots, and to also take into consideration the variant nature of parking in those lots in this post-COVID era on certain days. You know, specifically in the Norotan lot, the far fence line that parallels right to 95, which is now all permit until 9 o'clock. I mean, the reality is that there are just a lot of days where those spots aren't close to, being filled. So if there is a way to look at that and maybe alter the policy to allow more daily parkers on the less commutable or commuted days, then you would save those people the necessity of parking near post 53 or
Which is IG.
Right. So that was my thing. Is there a way to look at this to adjust the policy instead of a straight line to look at the real facts on the ground to see if there isn't a way to again get more money?
So to summarize, you'd take a section of the lower lot of the Monroe Heights permit lot,
Right.
and reserve more of the, or open up more of those spaces for daily parkers as opposed to none, which is, or
Well, right now-
none until 9 o'clock, right?
Yeah, on the lower section on the 95 side. So you've got the section up by the post.
Yep,
And then you go down a little bit of a hill.
yep.
That whole lower part is permit only
Yep.
until 9 AM. So I think what Mike's proposing is that we designate a portion of that lot to be daily at any time. I am sending out a survey to permit holders. It should go out this week. Brief 3-question survey about where do you park, how often do you park, and do you expect to change your parking habits in the near future, either next year, because some companies are requiring more people come back, or congestion pricing. It's on hold right now in the city, but I expect it to be coming back, to be put back on the table soon, so, maybe people will choose. But just to get a sense, because pre-pandemic, that permit lot was full every day. And the daily lot was full every day. That is not the case now. So if we could generate more revenue, I'm actually not sure that we can. I mean, I think our parking may be what it is, but the only way to generate more revenue would be to take away the permits entirely. But
In the spring, sort of kind of prior to, maybe summer is not the right time to look at the lots, given summer vacations, but there were a few times that I'd gone down there, the lower lot was relatively full, like a midweek or.
on Wednesdays is when it's most full, but
Okay.
it, pre-pandemic, it would
It
be
was jammed.
completely
Yeah,
full.
yeah.
And the daily lot, the upper lot, would also be completely full. So parking habits have definitely changed. I think it's, people are not going into the city as frequently. So there's a whole new world with all that.
Let's keep this on the agenda and let's run some experiments and see what we could come up with to maybe try something. I don't know, I'm okay with that. Comments, questions?
I just see parking increasing over time. So I know that COVID, we had the drop, but from my own going in, I see the lots are a lot more full. So I think the questionnaire thing is a good idea.
Yeah, when you get the questionnaire results from that, let's
Yep.
pick up the discussion again. I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Transfers. Discuss and take action on a request for a transfer of $26,000 for the repair of a town hall air conditioning unit. Mr. Gentile.
The transfer you have in front of you is for $26,000. It is to replace one of the two condensers in the west end unit on this building. We did have actually both of the units down. We did get one of them back up and running, and that's what's running and sustaining down on the west end currently. The vendor that we had took a look at the second unit and said it was beyond repair, so we have ordered a new one. It's waiting until this transfer is done before we take delivery of it. But as soon as we do, we'd like to get it in place. The hot weather is coming. We're going to have to shut down the AC for 2 days to do this work. So we're trying to schedule it around a cooler couple days, maybe a Friday and a Saturday, maybe a Thursday and a Friday when this building isn't being used. But the $26,000 will cover the cost of the unit, and I put in like $1,000 contingency just in case something came up as we're taking the old one apart.
Good. This will be down on this side of the building.
Correct.
Okay.
And we need a crane to pick it up and drop it off and put the new one on top.
As an occupant of the West End, I endorse this.
As an occupant on the West End, I have to concur.
Well, wait a second.
No,
Ed, the other one, how long is it going to be good for?
The leak that came out was in one of the copper tubing, so when we brazed it, it should hold for quite a while.
Like years or?
A couple more years, yeah. And
Okay.
I have both the two units on this roof in the capital plan now. You'll see it 2 or 3 years out, and I'll walk it in to get it replaced. But we're going to get another 2 or 3 years out of that unit along with that one too. We had them both serviced in March, and they were working fine. So we're looking to, at least get 2 or 3. They're 20 years old right now. They're on the border of their useful life, but I think we can get some more out of them.
I think they're 24 and 25.
Oh, jeez.
Because I do remember the summer of 2000, we had no air conditioning at that end at all.
bad.
They are over 20 years old, according to Kate, and they are in the capital plan that she'll have to look at in December to approve.
Oh, I will.
Ed,
Yes.
So they're ready to be delivered?
The unit's on order, just waiting for us to make sure we have the funding to move forward.
But on order as in?
It's
It could-
sitting in a warehouse waiting for us to
Okay,
take
we don't
it.
have any supply chain
No,
problems? Okay.
we preempted this whole thing and had it waiting for us.
Of course you
Made sure the
did.
money was ready.
Motion to approve a transfer from the Board of Finance Reserve to an undisclosed location, according to this transfer order, of $26,000 to fund the purchase of this unit. Monica moves, Mike second, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Okay, we've got some appointments and reappointments for the Parks and Rec Commission. We've finished up our interview, so I will go through these individually since some of the terms are different. First one up, I would like to propose the appointment, or reappointment in this case, of Amy Boring to the Parks and Rec Commission for a term expiring March 31st, 2025. Monica moves, Mike second, all in favor? Okay.
That was Mike second?
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to propose the reappointment of Janet Kling to the Parks and Rec Commission for a term expiring March 31st, 2027. Okay, so Marcy moves, Monica seconds, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. I'd like to propose the reappointment of Laureen Bora to the Parks and Rec Commission for a term expiring March 31st, 2026. Monica moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? Okay. All opposed? Okay, 4-1, thank you. Okay. I'd like to propose the appointment of Ed Washeka to fill the unexpired term of Kara Bonzak, and that term would end on March 31st, 2027. Mike moves, Marcy second, all in favor? Okay. I'd like to propose the reappointment of Mary Louise Morgan to the Parks and Rec Commission for a term expiring March 31st, 2026. Sarah moves, Mike second, all in favor? I'd like to propose the appointment of Cindy Banks for a term ending March 31st, 2027. Sarah moves, Monica second, all in favor? Okay. And then I'd like to propose the appointment of Terry Bach to fill the unexpired term of Susan Daly, and that term would end on March 31st, 2025. And importantly, he would not begin serving until August 1st, as Susan Daly will be resigning her position effective July 31st. Sarah moves, Marcy second, all in favor? Okay, terrific. I think that's it. Kate, anything else on the Parks and Rec Commission?
No.
Okay, and we'll send out letters to these folks tomorrow, and their appointments will take effect. Well, actually, they take effect immediately.
Except for Ed Washeka, he has to resign from the RTM first.
Right, he's got to do all that, but yes, we'll do that. Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is the reappointment of Kathy Conlon as a constable for the Tokenique Police Department for a term ending June 30th, 2026. Kate.
These are police officers that work in private area of Tokenique. They do get appointed by the town as constables because in order to have certain policing powers, they get recommended typically by the association and the chief of police. So you should have both those recommendations in your packet.
Yep. Comments or questions? Okay, could I get a motion for the reappointment of Kathy Conlon as a constable for the Tokenique Police Department? Monica moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? Okay, thank you. All right, last two items, we've got minutes to approve. These are the minutes from the May 6th regular meeting and from the June 3rd regular meeting. I've read through both and did not have any edits or corrections. Does anyone have any edits or corrections?
No.
No. Okay, could I get a motion to approve both the May 6th, June 2024, and the June 3rd, 2024 Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes? Sarah moves, Mike second, all in favor? Okay, minutes are approved. Agenda review. Anyone have anything for Board of Selectmen agenda? No? Okay. Next meeting is going to be July 1st, and we will, more to come on that, but I think that's it for today, unless anyone else has anything else. Kate?
No.
Nope. Okay, motion to adjourn. Mike moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? Adjourn at 7:54. All right, thanks, everybody.